selector. Rewind selector. Rewind selector. Rewind selector. Rewind selector. Rewind selector.
Welcome to the IPA Champions Cup, live on Sporty Stuff TV.
Good evening, and day 2 of Champions Cup here on Sporty Stuff TV, and we've got 5 absolute cracking matches this evening. We've just had the first match on, and it was nip and tuck all the way through, and well, I'll tell you the score if anyone never said it was 3-3, so that's how good it was. It was absolutely a classic. And I've got with me tonight one of Paul's, well, they call him the governor. He's the expert, Mr. Mark Pickworth. Good evening, Mark.
How you doing, Gary? You okay?
Yeah,
fine. Did
you
you enjoy
mate.
your first day, actually? I've not even had time to even ask you.
I did enjoy it last night. Yeah, I don't think the bookies enjoyed it. Oh, did we? We had our world's #1 come down from Scotland. And he absolutely, well, he tore the opposition apart, didn't he? It was like, in greyhound terms, it was like an A1 versus an A9 dog last night, and 4-0, 4-0, 4-0. But don't worry, tonight we've got 5 matches, and you think all these matches could go either way. Don't forget, we've got odds with our betting partners. You know who they are if you bet with them anyway, but there's all live odds on for every one of these 5 matches. So, and we'll give you plenty of time. We'll give you up to, well, when we talk about the next match, we'll always give the viewers a good 3 minutes to put their selections down and what they say. But tonight, Mr. Pickworth, we're in your hands. We've got 5 matches. Where's the nap going? Where's the money going?
Well, we've seen that first match. It ended 3-3. That could have been 4-0 either way. Andy Croasdale against Carl Clark. We've both gone for opposite end. We know when we're on the 9 o'clock show, you said you was going to go for Andy Croasdale, and I've gone for Carl Clark. So all of a sudden, we're at each other straight away.
Yeah, but we're still in it.
We are both still in it.
We're still in it.
Win the
I
group.
thought Andy Croasdale. I thought, really and truthfully, I thought at 5-4, he was value to actually win the group. You went 11-4, Cole Clark winning the group. So we took each other on there. First match 3-3, so we're still in the battle there. But match 2, we've got to have, well, I'd say match 2, it's going to be match 1 for Sporty Stuff viewers. There's only the first match on TV this evening. Harkness against Jamie. Now, how would you go here?
Well, Paul Harkness against Jamie Clark. Both of these guys have been with the IPA and on the professional ranks for 5 years now. And they haven't got the best sort of percentage record. Jamie's got a lot lesser, and that's really the reason why he's the outsider to win this group. He's 8-1 to win this group tonight, where Paul Harkness, he's a little bit of a better player, and he's got a 50% record. And I think that Paul Harkness can probably win this tonight as well.
Are you thinking?
Well, I think he'll win this match tonight, definitely.
So we've got a betting slip here, because this is our little betting office. I don't know if you know, we open at 10 o'clock and we finish at about 1 o'clock in the morning. But Paul Harkness here, 4-5 to beat Jamie Clark. We think that's a fair bet, so that's 4-5. Now, I know there's been trouble with the weather this evening at Toaster, and the air broke down a few times, and I think Paul Harkness has had a bit of problems as well getting here this evening from Scotland, hasn't he? The weather's been absolutely atrocious getting down.
Yeah, so Paul Harkness, he's from just above Cumbria. He's ranked 19th on the pro rankings, nicknamed Diego, and you just look at his form there. You know, he's got a 50% record on there, so he's won 5, lost 5 in his last 10 matches. And to be fair to Paul, he's not had the best couple of years previously, but this last season that he's just had now, he's won 50% of his matches.
So he's coming into form?
Yeah, he's coming into form. So
4-5 to win the next match. He's coming into form. Jamie Clark, well, he's the outsider, by the way. When we come on here early on before the 9 o'clock show, all our betting partners had odds to win the group. And Jamie Clark, unbelievable. I know there's plenty of good judges here on Paul, and they could not believe it. He was an 8-1 chance to win the group. And even you said that was a big, big price mark, didn't you? 8-1 to win it for Jamie Clark. So really, you got Paul Harkness, who was 9-4. 9-4 versus an 8-1 chance. If that was an horse race or a dog race, he wouldn't be 4-5, he'd be 1-2, Paul Harkness. But here's Jamie, the shark. He looks well. You wouldn't fancy Jamie knocking on your door at 2 o'clock in the morning and say, "Where's my money?" Would you? Absolutely. Look at him. He looks a fine creature, doesn't he, Jamie Clark? But he's a good pool player, isn't he?
Yeah, he certainly is, and he can hold up for himself without a shadow. Yeah, he's ranked number 27 on the pro rankings, and as you saw, his record weren't that great. Sort of only won 2 out of his last 10 matches. And he's only got a pretty low percentage sort of win record at like 24%. So he's got a lot to do.
Well, a good friend of mine who absolutely loves his money, you know, he'd eat a pound note, and he's had a fiver at 8-1 on Jamie, and he said he's value. And that's what this game's all about. And that's what we want on Sporty Stuff TV, a bit of value. You have a bit of value on the ground racing, we'll give you a bit of value on Paul, won't we?
Yeah, we certainly will, definitely.
And we've got coming up here as well, I see your pick as well, Cole Clark, and I think Cole Clark, he reminds me of Mark Selby, Cole Clark, the snooker player, doesn't he?
Yeah, but got a little bit of a
Double It. Now, I know his nickname is Double It, but tell me why Double It?
Well, he sort of doubles it off the cushion into the pocket, so expect a few double hits. So okay. Not double it, not double hit.
I'm not learning. I'm not learning that fast.
Well, I'll get you an expert.
Last night we had the butcher, didn't we? We had the butcher appear last night, didn't we? We had
you liked
Pigeon.
the butcher, didn't you?
We had Pigeon last night, didn't we? We had the sexy one as well, didn't we? I love all these names these pool players are getting. So.
Absolutely. And then don't forget about Andy Crosdale. You know, we've just seen Crowy, and he's your favourite, isn't he?
I thought he was a touch of class there. I know he only drew the first match 3-3. But I thought Andy, I thought on that first one it was 3-3 to score. Yeah. But Andy could have won that match 4-0. And I know Andy's got 2 other matches to come. And I want to be with Andy for the last 2 matches. I think he just, and it must help as well. First time on this table as well. It's an hard table to play first time up, isn't it, Mark?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
You know, I think you ain't seen the best of Andy Crosdale yet.
No, absolutely not. And
I love a favourite, don't I? You know, look at last night. You know. The Bellies pick last night, we went for the favourite last night, Liam Dunster, to win all these matches. I think he was 13-2 early, and then he went to 5-1, but he won. So I love a favourite. I can't help it, can I? Andy
no, absolutely.
I still think he'll be top of the tree. I think I'm going to beat you with Cole Clark.
Well, we'll see then. We'll have to wait.
We've got some great matches after that coming up. There'll be another 5 in all this evening. We've had the first one. Yeah. And it's going to get better and better and better, isn't it? So I'll tell you what we're going to do. If you fancy playing at home, we're going to have a little break now. You've got about 3 minutes. If you want to place your bets on your first match on Sporty Stuff, it's going to be ours number 2. And nice cup of tea, and be back in 3 minutes.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Sporty Stuff TV Champions Cup. Here we have our second match of the evening. It's Jamie Clark against Paul Harkness. I've been joined in the commentary box for this one by Kev Barton. Good evening, Kev.
Evening, Dan. Evening, everyone. And what a match we've got coming up now. Very interesting match, I think, as well. So two really established professional players who both probably struggled for form a little bit over the last few years. So it's going to be an interesting battle. And for those of you who saw the match earlier, it was a 3-all draw between Carl Double It Clark and Andy Crowy Crosdale. Bit of a nervy, edgy affair that one was. But I think these two guys who are a little bit more experienced, probably a little bit more used to playing in this type of arena.
Match 2.
I think
best of 6 frames.
Yeah, I think we're in for a good game here.
First frame, Jamie Clark to break.
Yeah, Jamie Clark.
Time running.
It was spoke about before the start of this match was 8-1 to get through this group tonight, and we spoke about it in the earlier match. That was a huge prize for someone who is a very talented player.
1 free shot.
Yeah, he's certainly had some good moments, Jamie. As both these players have. You know, Paul is he's a tough player to beat, tough match player. How's he going to adapt to the 30-second shot clock? You know, we'll see how he copes with that. And Jamie there, a little bit unlucky. Good break. really good split in the white. Just got bumped into the corner. But,
Do you think that these two have been sort of unfairly priced by the bookies, given that these are the two professionals in this group tonight, and actually the other two are qualifiers? We obviously know Andy Crowsdale's class from his run to the last 8 in the previous Champions Cup, but these two, in theory, should be the favourites, shouldn't they?
Well, no, I think the bookies are not usually wrong, and you know, as I said, these guys have struggled for any sort of consistency. Maybe the short races might actually help them. You know, they have struggled for consistency and, you know, to win 7-8 frames against a good player. So, you know, maybe these short races to 3 and 4 might actually suit them, and you know, we'll be able to see their true talents.
Of course, we had a fair bit of action last night. Liam Dunster absolutely flying through Group 1. After the first match last night, I think the dynamic was a little bit different because of Liam's first 4-0 victory. In this instance, Jamie v Paul, they both come into this match knowing that the first match was a draw. So whatever happens here, they're still going to have a chance. Whereas last night, I think there was a bit more pressure on both in the second game because of Liam's lightning start.
Yeah, it's a fair comment. I think last night as well, you know, the players, you know, 2 of the players have been, you know, drafted in at the last minute. Oh, fantastic shot there. Paul Harkness used the red to screw the white back. Tremendous positional shot there.
That was a piece of real quality from Paul Harkness, who opens us up with a reverse dish after Jamie was kicked in off after his break. It's a good start for Paul. It's not ideal for Jamie. 1-0 in a race to 4 is actually quite a big margin, isn't it, Kev?
Yeah, it is. And it'll be even more so if Paul can break and clear in this frame. But yeah, just going back to last night, I think you know, 2 of the players who were, you know, literally parachuted in at the last minute to replace, you know, 2 pro players who unfortunately tested positive for COVID.
2.
And
Paul Harkness to break.
you know, they were
leading 1 frame to 0.
You know, they were obviously under a lot of pressure, probably not really prepared, and you know, quite nervous out there. So probably understandable how last night played out. But you know, as we were saying earlier on commentary, I think tonight is going to be a very, very close group, and it could be a frame either way that could, you know, determine who goes through to stage 2.
Yeah, it certainly is one of the more wide open groups that we have in this tournament. One of the harder to call. And Paul Harkness isn't able to continue his good start. He's left a great chance here for Jamie Clark. 1 tricky plant to open us off, and he should be well away on these reds.
Yeah, so a good chance for Jamie to repay the compliment. And these are the sort of chances, you know, in these short matches, you just simply have to take. You know, there's no leeway. You've got to take them out. These are pretty much easy. If he's in the club, he's taking these out every day of the week.
Yeah, Jamie Clark, a very accomplished player, plays for Nottingham, or Nottinghamshire, I should say, at county level. And,
that is a hotbed of pool.
Yeah, my Sussex team played their Nottinghamshire team at county finals a couple of years ago and got roundly smashed to bits. Jamie was I was not his biggest fan that day, but he's a wonderful player and a very, very lovely person off the table as well.
Yep, so it's all about this positional shot. Just needs to glide it through the gap. Well, he's punched it, but that'll do the job. And as we said,
bit of a contrast. Sorry, bit of a contrast from our first match. Jamie Clark levels things up. We've had 2 breaks and 2 dishes.
Yeah, and I think just referring back to, you know, the start, what we said, you know, these two are a lot more experienced, and they're obviously coping with the situation, the environment, the table, you know, a lot better than some, and that's been reflected. 2 reverse dishes to get things underway. Great standard.
I guess for both players, though, it was a chance that they would both expect to get. Jamie's and Paul's reverse dishes. It was the ideal chance, wasn't it, for your first match on this table?
It's what you want. It's what you know. It's what you're hoping in the pre-match build-up.
1 frame all. Time running.
But you know, you've still got to take them. You've still got to take the chances. There's still this great occasion, this great tournament. You want to do well. You've got your family, your friends all watching. You've got your own professional pride. You know, there's a lot at stake.
Jamie Clark will have had his heart in his mouth after that break. Once again, that cue ball tracking up towards that top right corner pocket. But this time, it was helpful. It knocked in a red. And it gives him first look at this table in the 3rd frame.
Yeah, he could go for either colour here. Switch whichever. I mean, I quite actually like yellows. But, it's just a positional shot after the first one. You're sort of guessing a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. He was probably a little bit straight on the red that he was closest to in the balk area. So he wasn't really able to get out of that area with the first shot on reds. So yellows it is.
Can he slice this into the bottom left? Where's the black going?
10 seconds.
Can he slice the middle of those sort of yellows into the right corner or right centre? Right corner it is. It's a good attempt. It was a tough one. Time was running down.
It was a very tough pot for Jamie Clark, but it will go down as a miss. What can Paul Harkness do from here? Jamie has knocked one of his reds to the right onto the side cushion.
10 seconds.
But he's got a nice opening pot to get onto it and clear that out of the way.
Yeah, I like the way Paul's going about his business in these first couple of frames. He's certainly hitting the white with authority. He's not being, you know, dictated to by the fact that the table's playing, you know, ultra quick. I like the way he's striking the balls.
Paul's got himself on this red into the left centre. That's a terrific positional shot, bearing in mind the previous shot was right down the cushion. Really is hitting the ball with some authority, Kev.
Yeah, he looks in the mood for it tonight. I think Paul is one of these lucky players he has got a table at home. I suspect he's putting a little hour or two extra this week.
That cue ball looks like it's just about held up in time. He was remarkably close to snookering himself there. And perhaps the pace of the table could still catch him out.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if his only shot is to run it through for the red into the top corner.
Even though there's distance on this pot, though, you'd expect him to make it. He's finished nice and straight on it. You know, it's just a good delivery of the cue, really.
Yeah, you can either run it through or punch it. Oh.
Ooh. I think he was in 2 minds, Kev. I think he was in 2 minds between the 2 shots you just mentioned, whether to run it through or punch it. In the end, took his eye off the pot and has left, you've got to say, sitters for Jamie Clark.
Yeah, I think I'd have been punching that one in. I think that was the way to play it. Needs that white to get away from the black. It's okay. But yeah, Paul, from looking so good, that was a miss. Even though it was a tricky pot, I didn't expect him to miss that. See Jamie, he doesn't mess about.
No, hasn't quite worked his way into perfect position in this visit yet. Just chasing the finish a touch, but that is absolutely perfect.
Straightforward black, and the 8-1 shot to win the group tonight takes a 2-1 lead. 8-1, Jamie Clark.
That 8-1's, I mean, it's still very early days, but that 8-1 is looking very, very good at the moment, isn't it?
Well, I mean, you know, whatever the score outcome of this match, you know, both players, to be fair, looking very, very composed, unlike the first match. You know, we've only really seen that one missed pot from Paul Harkness in the 3 frames. So both players, you know, settled, but you know, Jamie's had a couple of chances and taken both. I mean, you can't really do much more than that.
Frame 4. Paul Harkness to break. Trailing 2 frames to 1. Time running.
Paul Harkness's first break in this match was big but dry and left a perfect opportunity for Jamie Clark. Can he make a ball this time? He can. That red sneaks in. It certainly wasn't in the heart of the pocket. It's another good split though.
Yeah, the balls are breaking very well on this table. Paul not renowned as one of the big breakers of the game, but I think when you get these fast conditions, this fast cloth, very fast reactive cloth,
Extension
you
call.
can sort of get away with it a little bit.
Used his extension here, using every second available to him to try and plan a route. My guess is that he'd really love reds here because of the red covering the bottom right corner. And he has taken on the plant. Yellow onto reds. That is a legal shot in black ball rules. And that now makes him red.
Yeah, so for any viewers who are new to IPA, new to black ball pool here on Sporty Stuff TV, when a player breaks and if they put a ball from the break or 2 balls or however many, as long as it's not the black or the white, then all that does is that means they stay at the table, and then the next legal ball that they pot is their colour for that frame.
Paul just played a little containing safety shot.
Extension
Just tried
call.
to leave Jamie nothing to go at. Clever, because the reds weren't really on from where he ended up after his first shot. What can Jamie do? Can he hide the white anywhere?
I think he'll be looking for an attacking option somewhere. There's not much hiding place on this table. He's a bit of luck. Oh, I think he's had some. Quite the white's ended up.
I think he's had a big stroke of luck. Well, I'm not entirely sure what he was playing. I think he might have been trying to get the cue ball up into that top right corner of the table, because that was probably the safest area for him. But where he's ended up looks pretty safe as well. Paul's just trying to cover off any attacks for Jamie. And I think he's left him a shot, Kev.
He has, but I think he'll settle for that. He's probably about as good as he could have hoped from that position. Just made those 2 yellows on that near where the cue ball is a little bit awkward.
Oh, I did wonder if Jamie could have played the yellow that he just played off the yellow into the right centre. Obviously didn't feel like it was on.
I think the yellow's just past. Well, that shot would have been easier. Just past the centre pocket. But he's played a good container. Likewise there from Paul, using all that experience.
Such an interesting little battle, this one. Jamie's always had that option to leave the cue ball up there in the right-hand side of the table, but he's sort of running out of balls to get down there now. So if Paul can find safety again once or twice more,
I think he's attacking.
Jamie might find it more difficult.
Can he clip this in? No, it's a safety. He couldn't. I think he could have clipped that in, to be fair. I think we'll see some
good
players.
and bad.
We'll see some players later on in the tournament who'll definitely be going for that shot.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that's for sure. Paul has left Jamie a pot, which Jamie's turned down. He's caught that yellow way too thin.
Yeah. I think he's almost gifted this one now. This is a great chance for Paul to tie things back up at 2 frames apiece. If this match ends up at 3-all, I think we'll be getting out the manual to see what happens if all matches end up 3-all.
Who wrote the manual, Kev?
I think we're writing it as we speak. Could go down to who's got the fastest car or something like that.
It's a nice positional shot there from Paul. He's on the one red that's on its own. But he does need another good one. He doesn't want to flick off into this yellow too hard. Oh, he pinched it. How's it come out? That's no good. That's no good at all.
Has he got a plant?
I don't think so. He'd have to be the other side of it to make it, wouldn't he? I think it'd be too thin. Well, he's looking at whether that...
10 seconds.
He's looking at whether the red in the middle of the table will go off the yellow into the right centre. I've no idea what he's playing here.
Well, he's playing a containing shot. But I think this is a good chance for Jamie. That yellow goes in the left centre, and then it'll be on the one in the right centre. He's still got some work to do with those 2 in the bottom right side of the table.
Not sure I really see the value in the containing safety there from Paul, to be honest. I feel like in that situation, you know you're going to be giving up the table. You're better off just having a go at something.
Yeah, but I think that's his style. You know, that's his style. You'd rather ask Jamie the question, and you know, hopefully he makes a mistake. I mean, it's always a risky strategy if you're relying on your opponent to make a mistake rather than going to try and win the frame yourself.
Seconds.
But can work. Just judge that well.
And he'll take that little flick as well. Obviously didn't leave himself quite the right angle to nudge the trickier of the yellows out. Can just start to feel the tension in Jamie Clark's arm now, though. Not making this finish look simple. This is going to be a very big shot on his last yellow.
Can this to almost guarantee himself a point. No mistake, although that white's just run on an extra couple of inches.
Straight down on it. And it's straight into the heart of the pocket. That's a great shot from Jamie Clark. He leads by 3 frames to 1. Maybe the bookies have got it wrong after all, because for my money, Jamie's looked the better player out of all 4 so far that we've seen.
Yes, he certainly has, and if he can take 2 points from this match, that is going to put him in top of the table. I know it's early days, but he'd rather be at the top than the bottom. you know, I think with Jamie, we all know, you know, Jamie Clark is a very good player, and he, you know, probably hasn't performed
Frame
as well
5.
as he would have.
Jamie Clark to break, leading 3 frames to 1. Time running.
Not performed as, you know, as well as he would have done, but we all know he's a great player. He's got such a lot of talent, and it's probably just confidence with him and concentration, and some of those things that, you know, us mortal players do suffer with. But you know, you can see that you know, he gets down, he just doesn't mess about, and more than capable of giving anybody a real good game, a real good fright.
Do you think he's one of those players, Kev, that just needs a really good run to sort of kick-start him? He needs that little bit of luck maybe in a tight match to go his way.
10 seconds.
And then actually he could rise up the rankings quite quickly if he plays to his full potential.
Well, it's certainly there. It just needs to come out, and you know, whatever that is for Jamie, I'm not quite certain. But you know, I don't know if he's able to practice much. You know, he's got a relatively new business that, you know, I've no doubt will be taking a lot of his time. You know, I don't know if he gets the opportunity to practice as much as he would like. You know, sometimes, you know, other things get in the way of pool, and but you know, it would be nice to see him you know, win a few matches and see what he could achieve.
10 seconds.
Well, he is, despite his dry break, going to have the first real chance of this frame. Got away with that dry break a little. Didn't really leave Paul a lot to go at, and he took on a tricky one. It didn't come out for him. It's a bit of a 6 of one, half a dozen of the other between the reds and the yellows here for me. I think he'll probably be looking at the yellows, but he does have areas on the table that require attention, specifically the black.
Yeah, he looks very, very determined. You can look at the eyes, and as soon as I said that, it's just put his worst shot of the match there. But yeah, he looks very, very focused.
Has he got away with this? If Paul can't see the potting angle on the red closest to the black spot, well, he can, because he's getting down on it.
Yeah, this is a great chance for Paul.
Certainly one that you would expect him to take.
Yeah, certainly after the way he played the first frame, I mean, that was the best clearance, you know, one of the best clearances we've seen of the tournament so far. You know, played with real authority, and just seems to have lost that same conviction at the moment. Maybe you can find it again in the next few shots.
The positional shot in this frame, he's having a look at the red closest to the baulk line. I'm not convinced that goes up to the top left. If it doesn't, really only goes into the left centre or to either of the two long corners. So there's still a chance here for Jamie Clark. There's still a little bit of hope, because there's no natural pattern here emerging just now for Paul Harkness.
So this next positional shot could be the key to this frame. Can he get into that white ball? I think he can. Just got to avoid that centre pocket. Yeah, he just didn't quite get into the white ball as much as I think he wanted to.
Well, for me, Kev, the fact that he's having a look at the red in the bottom half of the table suggests that the red in the top half certainly doesn't go to the top left. It definitely doesn't go to the top right, so this is another massive positional shot.
Gets that white to slow down. Oh, well played.
It has. Well, he must have half a pocket. Oh, you can see it there, it flies.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. Well, it didn't fly that well. My word. It looked like there was a lot more than we thought from the camera angle that we saw. But
Time out.
still not quite enough room for Paul Harkness. And he's turned over the table to Jamie Clark at the most crucial time. Can Jamie hold his nerve and get over the line in this match?
Time running.
Well, for all the money, it looked like 3-2. Paul Harkness, what did you do there? He had plenty. I mean, he had more than half the pocket there to get into. He would normally expect that to get every day of the week.
Oh, that's the shot that's won Jamie Clark this frame and this match. That's a terrific shot. He judged that little nudge of the yellow absolutely perfectly. And now is left with 3 simple shots to take the second match by 4 frames to 1 and put himself a very healthy top of the pile after 2 matches.
Yeah, nice bit of frame difference as well, because, you know, we do expect this group to be pretty tight. And that 4-1 scoreline
Frame and the match. Jamie Clark
will
wins
put
4
him
frames to
in
1.
good stead for the rest of the tournament.
Yeah, a terrific performance by Jamie Clark. Let's see what our experts have to say about that one.
Well, I don't know about expert, but we've got a new leader in the clubhouse, haven't we, after that one? And what Kevin was saying there, 8-1 he was, weren't he? He was the outsider, Jamie, but he's no outsider, what we've seen there, haven't we?
Yeah, he's played superb there against Paul Harkness. Yeah, he's not really missed too many chances there. I mean, the most loose shot that we've seen from him was just in that last frame, so he must have started thinking about the winning line. But even that sort of end to clearance there, you know, we've seen some good stuff from him.
Yeah, that was good. And I'm just looking at our little bets here, and I've found one here on match 4. That's not the next one coming up, but the one after. Jamie Clark was 3-1 to beat Crosdale.
Right.
Now, I'll bet he's not 3-1 now, but if you have a look with our betting partners, if you can get any 3-1, that's a massive price, Jamie, isn't it? How he's played there.
Yeah.
I think that's the value coming up here. But in the next match here, we've got Cole Clark against Harkness. Cole Clark, the outsider. You thought he was a bit of value here. 13-8 we went Cole Clark to beat Harkness. And after what you see there, you wouldn't want to put anyone off that, would you, 13-8 Cole Clark?
No, definitely not. I mean, Paul I'm not sure how he's going to get back into this now, because you know, he's lost that match 4-1, and he'll be a little bit disappointed because he started off the match really well. How he's going to sort of recover from that, we're going to have to wait and see.
Cole done nothing wrong in match 1, did he?
He didn't, and he played really well to like, you know, secure a draw against Andy Crosdale.
Yeah. I think this will be close as well.
I do. I think it will be,
It's
definitely.
going to be one of them nights tonight.
This group's going to be wide open. We're probably going to see every frame on every match.
Yeah, well done. I'm enjoying it.
Good.
So what we're going to do now, we're going to give you 3 minutes if you want to play on the next match. Cole Clark to beat Harkness. We'll have a little break. See you soon.
Thank you, gents. When you're ready, please lag for break.
Welcome back to the Sporty Stuff TV Champions Cup for our 3rd match of the evening between Carl Clark and Paul Harkness. These two have
Harkness
had
wins the leg.
slightly contrasting fortunes so far. Carl starting off with a draw in our first match against Andy Crosdale, whilst Paul started off in our previous match with a loss, 4-1 against Jamie Clark. How can he recover? Mark Pickworth is in the commentary box for this match with me. What do you think, Mark?
Well, after what we've just seen in that second match there, I'm not sure if Paul can recover from himself after that performance. He'll be a little bit disappointed. And we saw Carl, he looked really positive in that first match against Andy Crosdale. And well, it's going to be an interesting matchup. But this is another match that can go either way. This group is wide open.
Match 3, best of 6 frames. First frame, Paul Harkness to break. Time
I
running.
think it's fair to say that Carl threw in a couple of wobbly shots in that first match, but would have been pleased to get a draw on the board. Paul actually started his match against Jamie very confidently, but threw in a couple of awful errors later on. And, well, in the end, Jamie was a deserved 4-1 winner. And one thing that didn't work for Paul in that first match was his break. And it's continued in that fashion. Carl with the first chance in this frame.
Yeah, you say first chance. I mean, the way that red's just gone over that other red. It's a little bit unlucky, but he was cannoning into it, so he knew what was happening. He's going to have to do some work now, and that has popped out. I think just the pace has popped that one out.
Yep, disappointment for Carl. Relief for Paul. That dry break hasn't cost him a chance. And actually, that shot there from Clark has kind of developed everything in Paul Harkness's favour. All these yellows have a pocket now.
10 seconds.
The two next to the black spot, a little bit tricky. And that is an under-hit first shot from Paul Harkness. He would love to have found that gap between the black and the red to the right of it. Going to have to reroute.
Well, you're saying reroute then. This is probably his second time of rerouting here. This is definitely not the way that he's looking at going. He's going to have to produce another great pot.
Yeah, looks like he's taking on the right hand of those two yellows to the top left. And that's a little wide. Oh, it got close though. And it's caused a big problem for the Welshman.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at these reds, Dan, I mean, yeah, there's four reds that's very easily potable, but how is he going to get them two reds at the top end of the table? He's going to need an angle somewhere. And this is the angle that he's been waiting for. But yes, I can't see this coming out well, can you?
Not unless he's trusting to luck, that's for sure. If he somehow pulls off a skill shot with this, then yeah, it could be okay, but there you go. Not great. He'll be even more disappointed to see that other red fly down table and land right on that yellow as well. We have mentioned the skill shot so far this evening. The combination shot, as it's also known.
10
As long
seconds.
as you hit your ball first, you can put your opponent's ball in the same shot. And that will be what Carl is looking at now. Playing the red in the baulk area onto the yellow and following it through.
Foul.
Well, I was so busy watching the red and whether that was going to just about drop in.
One visit.
And I think Carl was
Side
as
money.
well, because the cue ball screwed straight back into the right centre. Now, is this the chance for Paul Harkness to get out of his little slump?
Yeah, so I mean, the red and the yellow that's in the bottom half of the table. I think that the yellow will pass into the right centre.
10
He's
seconds.
going to have to really sort of navigate his way down there. So he's going to try and get down there now, but you don't want to be kissing his yellow.
Yeah, not ideal. I did have half a sort of wonder in my mind whether Paul would pot that red, get it out of the way, and then play a safety. The way he played against Jamie Clark, he played a couple of containing shots where some players would have gone more aggressive.
Yeah, and the way he's going about this now, he probably hasn't got any choice but to be aggressive. He's going to have to try and dislodge these two balls out and just hope. And he's, again, relying on a little bit of luck.
Yeah, no guarantee he's going to finish on this yellow. Well, he's missed it completely. That's an awful result for Paul Harkness, because not only that, he snookered himself on the remaining open yellow, which means he's pretty much going to be forced into moving that yellow that's causing Carl the problem. Is there a double on?
10 seconds.
Well, we're going to find out.
Oh, he's gone for it. It's so close, but it's not there. It was a glorious positional shot if he made it. But now, Carl Clark, he's got one tricky shot. He's just got to dribble this red into the right centre. If he wants to play it a bit more confidently, he could take it long. But he should be guaranteed position. In it drops, and he fires his last red in. Leaves himself this black for a 1-0 lead.
Frame.
Not looking good for the Scotsman, Mark.
No, it's not. Things just seem going from bad to worse for him. And Carl Clark, you've got to say, he's had, what, 3 chances in that frame there? And when he was going enough in that middle, Paul sort of let him off the hook. Because Paul definitely should have won this first frame.
Shoulda, woulda, coulda for Paul Harkness. Now, Carl Clark comes to the table. The most impressive thing about his performance tonight has been his break. If that continues, then Paul Harkness could find himself in a world of pain.
Frame 2. Carl Clark to break, leading 1 frame to 0. Time running.
Is that the curse of the commentator? Carl Clark's break lets him down. Paul Harkness comes to the table with a pretty decent chance on reds.
Ten seconds.
Yeah, you say pretty decent
Extension
chance.
call.
I think he'd have liked an easier one. That red on that bottom cushion.
He does have a nice
tricky
red to get into that though, Mark.
Yep, he does. But we're seeing things are not going too well for Paul Harkness, and that's not ideal either.
No, I kind of feel he's got to take the red he's closest to now up to the top right. He's looking at the red I was talking about as being a good ball to get on that red on the bottom cushion, but
10
yeah,
seconds.
if he took that one now, then that red on the bottom cushion becomes almost impossible. That's stage 1 of the recovery complete. And that's stage 2. That's an excellent shot.
Yeah, and it looks like he's got a little bit of an angle here. Try and get on off the cushion. He's not going to have a lot. He really needs to concentrate and cue this very straight.
Bridging over the yellow as well. That's terrific. Terrific shot from Paul Harkness. Nicely on the red up to the top left. And if he can just cue that in, then it's a dot-to-dot finish from there.
Yeah, he's not out of the woods yet. He's going to need the right angle on this red. Looks like he can just drop this in to leave himself the right angle. It just looks a little bit far, but I think he can just run this through now and he'll take the black into the right centre.
Yeah, I think that's perfect, Mark. And this has been a very impressive clearance by someone who has lost their last 5 frames.
Frame.
Lost 4 in a row to Jamie Clark and the first one in this match. Paul Harkness regains his composure and takes out an excellent finish to draw us level.
It looks like he means business now, the way that he's just slapped that black into the right centre. And that's the way to do it. He's obviously a little bit angry with himself. after the first match, and he's just got to pick himself back up, but he looks really focused there.
This group is so wide open at the moment, though, Mark. Last night we saw Liam Dunster absolutely steamroller the opposition, and by the third or fourth match we knew exactly how the group was going to pan out.
Paul Harkness to break. Scores are tied, 1 frame all.
Yeah, it certainly is. I mean, this
running.
is one of the sort of groups that I've been waiting to watch, because I even said in my write-up and Pickers Picks that it will be the most wide open group that we've got this week. I mean, and tomorrow we've got probably one of the toughest groups of the week with Clint Ianson, our number 5 seed, which is going to be a really useful group.
Well, talking of wide open, how wide open is this table after that Paul Harkness break? Doesn't appear to be too many problems on either colour set.
10 seconds. Extension called.
Slightly favour the yellows, but that wall of reds blocking the bottom right corner pocket is certainly going to be a concern for Carl.
Yeah, because that yellow next to the black, yes, it goes in the right centre, but it's sort of he's got to take them in the right order to make sure he gets on them all at the same time.
Yeah, that's possibly why he's chosen to go reds. Yeah, it's a little bit of a snookerish clearance, this, Mark, where he needs to clear a couple of reds out of the way of the others, particularly the middle of those 3 reds there. He'd love to get rid of that, because then that opens up the pocket for the red just above it. Nicely done. Use that yellow there for a little bit of control. The only problem with that is it's kind of covered an option for the black. Might not be an option he'll need, granted. But we saw from that camera angle there, it's very tight as to whether that black goes down to the bottom right. I'm not 100% sure that it does.
I mean, he will still have the top left pocket option on, but I suppose we'll see with what angle is left here. He nearly overscrewed that. I think he's okay. So I think he is going to be playing this into the bottom right now, the way he's played that, or is he going to play it into the right centre? I think he's looking at digging down a bit, is he? He's going to play it plain ball. He has. But he's missed
right centre,
the pot.
I think he's tried to play that with plenty of right-hand side, and he's thrown the pot off. And Paul Harkness, who got himself back in this match in that previous frame, comes with a beautiful looking table on yellows.
Yeah, I mean, Carl there, he looked like he was going to start digging down on that, and I just thought he was going to stun it back, and then he's changed, and whether he's changed his mind last minute, I'm not sure, and that's the reason why he's missed the pot by a distance. But Paul Harkness, what a chance here to go 2-1 ahead.
That is definitely a symptom of the 30-second shot clock. It's, even though a lot of the players we'll see are getting used to the 30-second shot clock now, it's still not something that you would see in many pool tournaments around the country, in many opportunities for these players to play. So even the players we talk about being used to that clock, it's still quite a rare thing for them, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, because when we play the tours and that, not every table is being timed. But with this sort of one table format, every match is being timed exactly the same for everybody.
I think Paul would love to have that cue ball to have slowed up a couple of inches before it did. If he was on that yellow that he's closest to the right centre now, you would call it frame over. But the way that's come out, there's still going to be one positional shot to play.
Yeah, it was important to leave an angle here, and he should have the perfect angle just to come off 2 cushions and just take that yellow into the right centre. Key shot. There's the white.
Oh, how lucky has he got there? Off the jaw. And it comes across and leaves him beautifully positioned into a pocket that he definitely wasn't aiming this yellow into beforehand.
No, he'll take that.
Confidently puts it away. And the player who goes on to win this tournament, the players who will go through the groups in this tournament will be the players that make the most of their luck. And that is exactly what Paul Harkness has done there. He leads Carl Clark by 2 frames to 1.
Yeah, when that luck happens, you've got to take advantage of it, and he's done exactly that. He's exactly where he wants to be right this minute. He still needs 2 more frames because it's really, he's got to win this match to try and stay in this group.
Yeah, he does. At this point, the draw doesn't do either of them too many favours either. More than
Frame
Paul.
4. Carl Clark to break. Trailing 2 frames to 1. Time running.
Carl, of course, already has a point on the board, so a draw wouldn't be the end of the world for him, but it certainly would be for Paul Harkness, you would suspect. Well, he's found his break this time, but isn't it typical? You've just watched your opponent get away with one. You break off, make a ball, and come to an extremely awkward-looking table.
10 seconds. Extension called.
Carl was forced into taking that very, very tough cut on. It hasn't worked. And Paul Harkness has the chance to put his foot on the Welshman's throat. Early opportunity in the frame. And the yellows look fairly inviting, Mark, but that yellow next to the black would be causing me a concern.
Yeah, I think it definitely goes in the top left, so there's plenty of room for him to play up there, but that shot hasn't gone right. And now he's going to have some work to do.
Is he looking at the plant here? This is big.
Ten seconds.
Terrific shot, trusting to luck with the cue ball. This time, perhaps he hasn't got the luck on his side. Does still have a chance. This yellow up to the top left. And that's another tremendous shot. I think if Paul makes this clearance mark, it will really hurt
10
Carl.
seconds.
Carl will have been sat in his seat. There have been a couple of times where he's almost jumped out of it because he thinks he's going to be coming to the table at some stage. But now it looks like he's going to have to stay sat down.
Yeah, because he's in prime position now, especially if he gets an angle on this last yellow on the cushion. It's all about pace.
Pretty good. Paul can just drop this one in. He's played that with much more confidence than he's had, certainly against Jamie Clark. Simple black into the centre, and he leads by 3 frames to 1. He guarantees himself a point on the board. if he's going to have any chance of getting through this group. Realistically, he needs to win one of the next 2 frames still.
Yeah, it does, but it's better than losing the first 2 matches, because that is definitely a ticket to go home. But yeah, 1 frame away now to be getting back into this group B. It's wide open still. There's still no clear winner.
Frame 5, Paul Harkness to break, leading 3 frames to 1. Time running.
Paul's break has been one of the weaker out of the 4 competitors tonight. He'd love to get a good one here. And I imagine he'll be pretty pleased with that, Mark.
Yeah, pretty pleased with it, but I think is the opening pot quite difficult. He's going to be sort of overreaching, queuing over the red if he wants to take yellows.
Sporty.
That cut back on the yellow, it looks mighty thin, and he really hasn't got a red on.
He can play the red onto the yellow.
Time running.
And as a plant into the right centre. Obviously doesn't fancy that.
10 seconds. Extension called.
Such a difficult technique that with the rest. Queuing right over the top of that red. It's a very good shot. And he will be pleased with it. But there is still work left to do. The yellow to the right of the black spot is certainly a positional shot that's going to take a lot of care and attention.
Yeah, he needs to be taking these out in the right order. So I'm just thinking about that yellow you mentioned just next to that red. I mean, does it pass into the right centre? But even the black, he's got a little bit of work to do. And maybe he's just got even more work to do, especially if he's not on one of these on the bottom area.
Yeah, no, he's certainly going to have to program a different route into the sat-nav because he's not on anything in the bottom half of the table. He's got this 1 yellow left in the top half. It was tricky, it was tough, and he had to play it with a lot of pace. So a reprieve rather, for Carl Clark. Comes to the table with what I would describe as a half chance. There's nothing easy from here.
Yeah, but if
10 seconds.
If he wants to, be the one winning this group, these are the chances he's got to take out.
It's just the lowest of the 4 reds, Mark. I can't see how he gets on that nicely.
Yeah, I think what he's tried to do there is leave himself a little bit of an angle on this one and probably just get a cannon to change a few sort of different ways of that bottom area. But he looks to be straight on this red.
10 seconds.
Yeah, he's got a little bit too much angle on the middle of the 3 reds as well. With a bit less angle, he might have been able to top the cue ball through into the yellow to hold the cue ball, but that doesn't look to be on now.
No, and he'll know that if one mistake here will be his last.
Could that positional shot be his last mistake? Because, okay, he can pot this red into the left centre, but how on earth do you get on the other one?
10 seconds.
Well, I think we're using that L word again. A little bit of luck. He's had a good go here, and he's had a little bit of luck. He's got, wow.
He's going to need another one now. He's fluked this red. Look at this. Off the jaw, right down, bananas down the cushion. And in, but he didn't get the bit of luck he needed afterwards. The cue balls travelled far too far away from the red. He doesn't have an angle anywhere on it.
10 seconds.
He needs to find something spectacular. Well, there was a tiny hand of apology there from Carl Clark. He thought the red might cause Paul a problem, but actually, I don't think it has. I think this is a reasonably straightforward clearance for the Scotsman.
Oh, I think if that top yellow goes, it looks like he is on it now. So, yeah, he's going to make light work of this finish now.
Just needs to play this shot with a little bit of care. Never easy running one down the rail. And actually, a bit of a reroute. Paul Harkness has just this black for a 4-1 victory over Carl Clark. In it goes, a superb performance from the experienced Scotsman. All results are still possible in this group. It's going to be such an exciting rest of the evening for you all. Paul Harkness 4, Carl Clark 1.
Well, who's going to win? Who's going to win the league now? I don't know.
Well, I've just been on the comms, and I think that this group is still wide open. I'm not sure who's going to win. I don't know.
Who would be in front on the leaderboard?
Well, Jamie Clark, he'll be on 2 points.
Right.
Paul Harkness, he'll be on 2 points, and then we're just waiting to see how this next match goes.
And Jamie Clark, the next match, he's playing Craigsdale. He's a 3-1 chance. He was before we started tonight, wasn't he?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
That 3-1 would disappear now. That'd be in the magician's wand, wouldn't it? That can't be 3-1 now. But for what we're seeing here tonight, it's just absolutely anyone can win.
Yeah, absolutely.
I fancy having a go in there tonight. Can I win?
Have you brought your cue?
You have. You're a professional. You know what the game's all about.
Well,
it'd be good. But do you think Jamie can win this next one, 3-1?
Yeah, absolutely. The way that he's played, he looks like the better player tonight, and he's more than capable of beating Andy Crosdale. And I know what Andy's capable of. You don't, I do. And if he brings the performance that he brought last year in the Champions Cup, this is going to be a belter.
Should we watch it? Should we have a break?
Yeah, we'll have to, won't we?
Thank you, gents. When you're ready, please lag for break.
Welcome back to the Sporty Stuff TV Champions Cup for our 4th match of the evening. The group is still wide open, and it's Andy Crosdale against Jamie Clark. Jamie won his first match 4-1, whilst Andy started his campaign with a 3-all draw. So, Mark Pickworth, how do you see this match turning out?
Well, this has got to be a flip of a coin, and whoever wins this one, well, Jamie will be, if he wins this, he'll be on 4 points. If Andy Crosdale wins it, he'll be on 3. So we're going to have to just wait and see. But I like the way Jamie Clark's playing in this, the way he started off in this Champions Cup. He looks in fine form.
Yeah, he certainly does. He was very much in fine fettle in his first match against Paul Harkness.
Champions Cup, Group B, Match 4, best of 6 frames. First frame,
he was a
Jamie Clark to
heavy
break.
Underdog coming into
Time running.
8-1 shot to get through the group. If he wins this, surely he goes odds on.
Oh yeah, he will. I mean, look at the way he's broke them. He's put every bit of effort in towards that. And wow, these have opened up.
Yeah, that certainly is a monstrous break from Jamie Clark.
10 seconds. Extension call.
Yeah, when I was doing the odds and we did the odds show at 9 o'clock before these matches started, Jamie Clark was 3-1 to beat Andy Crosdale in this one. There's no way he's 3-1 now to beat him.
No, you would have to imagine not. Jamie's taken his time, picked his route. And as long as the cue ball does what he tells it to, these yellows won't be around for very long. That's okay, a big shake of the head. He's underdone that by quite a long way. He wanted to be on this yellow up to the top left. He's still on it to the top right, but he needs to top the cue ball through a bit to leave himself the right angle to get down onto his last yellow. He was probably a little bit worried about the double hit, Mark.
Yeah, he could, but he's left himself a shot here. I mean, I'm just wondering if he's going to play off the cushion first and just try and clip it on the left-hand side. But
10
I'm
seconds.
not sure he's going to get the right angle. I don't know what he can do here.
He's got to be careful of the jaw if he tops it through. Or needs to slow down or speed up. Either way, is he on anything here? Is there a gap into that left centre pocket, the bottom centre pocket from this camera angle? It looks very tight. I'm not convinced it's there.
10 seconds.
But I can't really see another option, Mark.
No, I can't. And he's come this far. He's going to have to sort of bit of a hope and hope it comes off that red. And I think that's it. All he could do was play it off the cushion onto the red, and hopefully it would have dropped, but it hasn't. And Andy Crosdale, first opportunity in this match now.
Andy had a couple of opportunities to put his first match to bed against Carl Clark. He failed to take them and ended up finishing 3 apiece. A couple of uncharacteristic misses from Crowe in that one. He's had plenty of time. He's had a couple of matches off to go and steady himself. But I'm sure the forefront of his mind at the moment will be that red on the right-hand cushion. That's going to be his most difficult shot.
He's got a nice angle on this red, so we'll take this into the top right. I mean, these pockets have been playing a little bit slidey, so I don't expect him ever to miss this one. And I say ever, and he hasn't, but what's he done there with the positional play?
He's caught it a little bit thick. He's caught it just a fraction thick, and it hasn't come off the cushion the way he expected it to. And now he is in serious trouble. He needs to come out, find a bit of a Hail Mary here.
Yeah, I
Come
mean,
cushion first and
10
pop the one nearest the
seconds.
pocket.
well, he can hit the red quite easily, but I mean, that yellow's so potable, and leaving that there is unforgivable. It really is. I can't see Jamie now failing from here. Just a little bit awkward cueing.
Ooh. Yeah, Jamie has not played that shot well. He's caught the yellow very thin. Hasn't come back out to the right-hand side of the table. Needs this black to drop, and it's not going to. It's actually quite a long way away from Jamie Clark. Is there still hope with the fact that that red will not go in the pocket? The black is covering it. Andy Croasdale needs to find a double. These cushions have slid quite a lot in the first couple of nights. But that is no problem at all for a man of Andy Croasdale's calibre. Jamie Clark has thrown his chance away. Andy Croasdale takes the first frame. He leads by 1 frame to 0. Sort of expected Jamie to settle a bit better into this second match, Mark, but he hasn't on that performance, has he?
No, he hasn't. He just looks a little bit edgy now, and especially with the way that he played that black. I mean, he just hit that thin into the left centre, that yellow, and that's why he sort of went out of position.
Nil to Croasdale. Jamie Clark needs to get that missed opportunity out of his head as quickly as possible. Can Andy keep him sat in his chair for this frame as well?
Frame 2. Andy Croasdale to break, leading 1 frame to 0. Time running.
Certainly won't be too unhappy about that break, Mark.
No, he won't be. I mean, these reds look pretty good, but it's just on the black. I mean, he's going to have a chance with that red that's next to the black to do something with it. But where's he gone with the white here? He's now got no angle on this red on the bottom cushion. And he's going to have an easy pot into the top right. But he was a bit careless, if you ask me.
Yeah, brand new cloth, a bit grippier than perhaps expected, and that the screw he put on that one certainly gripped. It's possibly a little bit fortunate not to go in off. He is still at the table. He's caught that one thin. Well, well, well. Jamie Clark comes to the table. Nothing easy on. I think it's going to be a safety of some sort, Mark.
Yeah, he's not going to be in a rush here to go out for these yellows. He's just looking at putting Andy in a heap load of trouble.
And he has, actually. That's a really delicately and well-played safety shot by Jamie Clark. Everywhere you look for the sort of easy one-cushion escape, they've only really got the red on the baulk line over the right-hand side to aim at. This is missable.
Foul. 1 free shot, 1 visit.
And that is quite a long way away.
Time out.
I mean, he put a lot of side on that. I don't think he needed to put side on that. I think he could have quite easily just, come off the cushion, cross the black spot, and he had a target of 2 reds in the top right-hand corner. So that's an error. And can Jamie Clark now get back into this match and level it up? But they're not easy, these yellows.
They're certainly not after that shot. He's underdone that with the cue ball by quite a long way. I'm not entirely sure what he was trying to do there. He had at least a couple of problems on the table. The red that he has moved covering the pocket, and also the yellow and black being so close together. But for me, he just hasn't really thought that first shot through nearly as well as he should have done.
Total snooker.
Nobody's paid a very little neat shot there. But one that he probably should have been putting a few more yellows.
Well, if you are going to miss your opportunity, probably a good idea to do it when you've still got plenty of balls to hide behind. He's got to have a really good, long, hard think about those 2 yellows and black in the baulk area. That's the problem for both players at the moment. But it's Jamie Clark with the control in this frame. And Andy's shot has not worked. Jamie's got even more of an opportunity now, because Andy's just opened up that tricky area we were talking about. Jamie can pot the yellow next to the black and nudge the other one out into open play.
Just like that, eh, Dan? He's played that really, really well.
Your best Tommy Cooper impression there, Mark. Appreciate that.
Thanks, Dan. I could rely on you.
It's a good response from Jamie. After missing a couple of opportunities in frame one, he then probably wouldn't have expected to get back to the table after the break in this frame. But he's played a couple of very neat safety shots. And in the end, that's what's won him this second frame.
Yeah, he's just getting down very quickly every time. He looks to be playing quite positive, not really thinking about too much. This is a different Jamie Clark. He's just potted that black. Now level at 1 frame each.
Confident, fluid performance in frame 2 by Jamie Clark. He draws the scores level. How can Andy Crosdale respond?
It just makes you wonder, you know, would a draw be good enough for Andy Crosdale going into the last match? It's possible.
I think if Andy draws this, he'll be relying on results to go his way.
Jamie Clark to break. Scores are tied, 1 frame all. Time running.
Because, of course, Jamie will be a point ahead of him, with a match still to play as well. And that match will be against Carl Clark, who hasn't, if we're honest, shown what he can do so far tonight.
No, and he showed good promise in that first opening match against Andy Crosdale. But Jamie Clark, he wants to win this match.
If he wants to win this match, he needs to take better care of the cue ball than that. That is not a good shot, and he is on nothing. Possibly got a little swerve around the red to pot the yellow nearest the baulk line.
No,
10 seconds.
I think he's going to be
Extension call.
Yeah, he's probably. I mean, if he can get through to that one on the top cushion, I think there is a safety shot there, but it's so tricky.
I don't think he can get there, Mark. I think the yellow's in the way. I think he's so tight on that. He's used his extension. He's got another 30 seconds to think about it, but
10 seconds.
there comes a point where thinking isn't enough. Well, he could get through to that one. It's a half decent safety shot. And he's got a long red to go at. He missed one similar-ish to this in the previous frame. But that is very, very confidently cued in.
Yeah, you can't say that, you know, both players are getting good chances. It's just about who gets in first and takes them. But, you know, there is going to be a couple of chances for both these players in this frame. Andy Crosdale.
Andy. I was going to say, we've seen him overscrew a couple tonight, and I wonder whether that was in his mind. I wonder if he's tried to pinch the pocket to widen the angle for the cue ball there. And it's forced a mistake. And Jamie Clark gets an unexpected visit. Just one vital positional shot now. If he finishes close enough and straight enough on this last yellow, then there's no issues at all. But there's a little bit of distance. Not that you would know it. He's stroked that in like it was over the pocket. And Jamie Clark drops in the black.
Foul.
And the cue
Loss
ball.
of frame.
Unbelievable. He's staring at the gap there between the red and the pocket. He can't believe that's dropped in, Mark.
Yeah, I'm in a little bit of shock as well. I mean, it was always going to go near the red, but I didn't expect it to even not hit the red and then drop in the pocket. Didn't think it was even possible.
Well, I don't think Jamie did either. The cue ball in this game is, what, an eighth of an inch smaller than the object balls. That might be the difference between the ball getting past the red or clipping in. Unbelievably. Either way, Andy Crosdale leads by 2-1.
Yeah, he certainly does.
Frame 4. Andy Crosdale to break. Leading 2 frames to 1. Time running.
I'm just wondering now, how will that affect Jamie Clark? If Andy Crosdale breaks and clears these, he's got a ball already. These opening up. They don't look too bad. I mean, if he's looking at reds, there's a tricky red in the cluster of yellows. But yellows is definitely the ball.
If Andy Crosdale can take these out, it will be another dagger to the heart of Jamie Clark. He must have thought for a good 10 seconds probably that he was in the lead of this match. Such a short format as well to go in off on the black. It's brutal.
Yeah, it is. I mean, Andy Crosdale with these yellows, that black on the top cushion, he's going to have to be a perfect angle on his last yellow to get up there. It does go in both top corner pockets, so that might make it a little bit easier for him.
That's not the best positional shot, Mark. This is a tricky yellow.
Yeah, but he's up to the challenge, but he's on the cushion. What can he do here? I mean, obviously the one in the left centre is the easiest one to pot, but it's all about position, and he needs to get the position right so he can get back up for the black.
Just feels like Andy Crosdale is digging a little bit of a hole, but he is straight enough on this yellow. Needs to screw it back to the top cushion. Wants to finish as straight as possible on that black. Needs to avoid those reds. Has he got away with that? He has. That's very lucky.
Yeah, and if this black goes in, which it has, that has got to hurt Jamie Clark, especially after he saw when he potted the black, the white follow it in. Andy Crosdale has punished him severely there.
Yep, that is a break and clearance for Andy Crosdale. It puts him 1 frame away from victory. There are just 2 frames left to play regardless. Jamie Clark is still in this match. Still playing for the draw. Still all to play for.
Yeah, a draw for Jamie Clark wouldn't be problem
Frame
for him,
5.
really. I'm going to put him on to 3
Jamie Clark
points.
to break. Trailing 3 frames to 1. Time running.
Yeah, Jamie needs the draw, really, to keep his fate in his own hands. Because if Andy wins this one and wins his last one, that will put him on 5 points. So Jamie would have no say in that. He'd only be on 2 after this one.
He's got one of his hard yellows out, but he's still got another tricky one.
I would argue a couple, Mark. The yellow to the left of the cue ball now is awkward. And the one on the right on the side cushion, that's not easy either. That is a terrific pot.
No, it's not. But he's going out for his pots here. This is another tricky pot. He's going to be a little bit hampered as well. It's not easy.
I do wonder if he's been trying to leave that yellow over the bottom right as a bit of insurance, but I think the red might sneak through that gap. We've already seen the cue ball go through a gap like that.
Well, that gap has just been closed off, and it's quite a clever shot there from Jamie. But we know, Dan, we've commentated on a lot of matches quite recently, and these frames can just turn around with one big shot.
10 seconds.
I do wonder if the skill shot's a possibility there. He's not taking it on now. I think if it was, then he would have done. So Andy's just turned the table over there to Jamie, really. He's basically saying to him, come and have a go, because Jamie's got the control, and Jamie is not going to fall for Andy's challenge.
Yeah, and that was a little bit loose there from Andy, letting him get his hard yellow out. And now let's give him options.
Is Andy just trying to mess up the table here for Jamie? No. He's left him a look at the yellow into the right centre.
Yeah, how hard is that shot though? I don't think that's going to be one he's going to be taking on. I'll be very surprised if he does.
But because he's still got that control over the bottom right, is it not a little bit of a shot to nothing?
Well, for me, he gets his harder yellow out, get it off the cushion, and just, yeah, trickle it up to the top, and that's fine.
Yeah, nice shot.
Just be patient. He's 3-1 down here. I think if he was 3-1 up, he might have gone for it. But 3-1 down, he wants a draw. I think we're just going to see a little bit of cat and mouse here.
Andy was looking for a telling safety. I think he's left a window up to the bottom end of the table. He has, and that's come out really well. Jamie was always going to flick the other yellow out. Didn't know exactly where it was going to end up. He will be very pleased with that.
That looks like he's a bit careless again.
I think he's perfect, isn't he? Is he not on the yellow to the top left? Just stun the cue ball into the red?
Well, it looks like he's gone a little bit further up the table, but you might be right, Dan. It looks like he's just done it. Or is he cutting this back in the top right? He's had to cut it back in the top right, and it's a good pot and a good positional shot as well. Jamie the Shark Clark is back in this match if he can get these 2 balls down. That's part 1. Just this black. It's there. It's 3-2.
Right.
Let's see all the frames again.
Jamie Clark. Absolutely quality finish from the Shark. He leads Andy Croasdale, trails Andy Croasdale still by 3 frames to 2. But he's fighting away for the draw, and the draw keeps it in Jamie's hands. A win for Andy, and it's in Andy's hands. This is probably the biggest frame of the night coming up now.
Yeah, this could be the one that just sees who's going to be winning this group. Well, let's be honest, this is going to be down to the last matches. Anyone can still win. Paul Harkness can still win. He's on 2 points.
Sixth and final frame. Andy Croasdale to break, leading 3 frames to 2. Time running.
That is not what the doctor ordered for Andy Croasdale. The most critical frame of the night so far for him. And it's dry. Couple of balls threatened pockets.
Ten seconds. Extension call.
What do you make of this table, Mark? It looks like it's going to be reds.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be reds. It also looks pretty, well, we say pretty tricky. Does that black pass into the top left? Yeah, it looks okay.
I think it does. I think these are all there, and this is just a case of can Jamie Clark hold his nerve. He did it in the previous frame to great effect. Just needs to finish nicely on top of those 3 reds there, and I think that'll do.
Yeah, I think he's got to come downstairs now. He's not perfect on the one in the middle. I think the one in the middle isn't the shot. Not unless you can dig down on it, but it's a big shot. I think he's got to come down the table and just play it with a bit of side.
Seconds.
Probably off 2 cushions to land on them 2 in the middle. This, for me, is the wrong shot. Unless
Time's running out.
Something. He's got a nice
Oh,
little nudge there.
I'll give him the benefit of the doubt there, Mark. I think he's played that.
Yeah, but he's still got a little bit of traffic to miss here. Don't want to be too close to that red.
Well, I think he's okay. He looks frustrated, but he's so close to this red. I think he could screw this back and play that last red into the right centre.
Yeah, this is going to be a formality now.
That black for the
Frame.
draw. Jamie
Match
Clark
drawn, 3 frames all.
keeps his fate in his own hands. Andy Croasdale couldn't do anything to stop the shark coming back at him. It's 3-all in that match. A brilliant display from Jamie Clark to come back. Andy Croasdale will be disappointed. He didn't take his chances, but in the end, it was a draw.
Well, another tie, Mark. I know you just run into the commentator's box there, but where do we stand now then in the table now? Who's favourite now?
Well, it's going to be Jamie Clark. It's in his hands now. He's ahead on the table with 3 points, and the 8-1 shot has now got a chance. So he's going to be going into his last match with a chance of finishing top of the table.
So it's the battle of the Clarkies here.
Yeah.
Cole Clark v Jamie Clark. If Jamie happens to beat Cole, then look at this, battle of the Clarkies. Clarkie with an E.
Yeah.
And Clarkie with a K. So
and it's in Jamie's hands.
in Jamie's hands.
If he wins this, he's going to win the group.
What a price he was as well, wasn't he? 8-1. Kevin said early, didn't he? When he couldn't believe it, could he? When he said, "What's the prices to win the group?" When we said 8-1, he looked at you, you looked at him. I looked and thought, well, I fancy the favourite. I still thought Croasdale would win it, but still, well, no one knows, do we?
No, we don't, and it is going to go down to his last 2 matches, though. But this next match is so important.
You know what they say, Mark? Down to the wire.
Now, Okay.
And that's what this is, isn't it? So we'll be back. Come back in 3 minutes. Have a little bet, whoever you fancy. If you're at home on the internet, this will be a cracker. The next match, Clarky Lee Clark.
Thank you, gents. When you're ready, please lag for break.
Welcome back to the Sporty Stuff TV Champions Cup, and what has been an intriguing encounter so far tonight.
Jamie Clark wins the
It's
leg.
match 5. It's Carl Clark versus Jamie Clark. Jamie Clark has it all in his hands, Mark Pickworth.
Well, Mark Pickworth has had a bit of a rest.
Sorry, Kev.
And we've got the substitutes in. But yeah, what a fascinating group this has turned out to be, which we did suspect at the start of the day that this could be certainly very close. And you know, we obviously talked about Jamie 8-1. That was definitely the value for me. And here we are. He's 4 frames away from winning the group and taking his place in stage 2 of the Champions Cup to join Liam Dunster. I mean,
first frame.
It's
Jamie Clark
all to play for.
Yeah, this would certainly be a big boon for Jamie Clark if he could make his way through this group. He will have proved a lot of people wrong. He's breaking first in this one. He's not caught those actually all that well. He's slid right off the front of the pack, but he won't care. He's made a ball and he's got a chance.
So first opportunity to the Shark. And these reds look very tasty indeed.
10 seconds.
What a great opportunity.
Yeah,
I suspect his BPMs are just up a little, up a few notches from what they were earlier.
Yeah, every time he comes to the table with a chance like this, he knows he's just that one little step closer, one shot at a time. Can he take these reds out?
That's the confidence that he's playing with now. That he can play those kind of shots. Every nudge is perfectly judged. You know, this is pretty flawless at the moment.
Just wants one more nudge here. Does he have the angle to pop the red and nudge the yellow out of the way? Clearly not.
I don't think he needs to. He's going to pop this.
He doesn't.
This red goes past the yellow. And the rest is easy peasy. Jamie Clark is on fire.
Frame.
He is walking around the table with such confidence at the moment. You would be hard pressed to see past him for the victory at the moment, wouldn't you, Kev?
Well, he's certainly looking good at the moment, and we can see the table as it stands now. Jamie Clark sitting there on the summit, 3 points from 2 games. If he wins this, he is uncatchable. If he draws, then it's down to Mr. Harkness and Mr. Crowsdale. We'll be getting the calculators out and the abacus to see who gets through. So
Carl Clark to break. Trailing 1 frame to 0. Time running.
Here we go, frame 2. Carl Clark. How can he respond?
Carl broke very well in the first game, not so well in the second. And it looks like his form is continuing to nosedive from the break. And Jamie Clark comes to the table once again. And once again, this looks like a good chance on reds.
It does. Everything's going his way. And the red that's nearest the white, that's the first one. And then, I mean, that looks, everything else looks very, very inviting, doesn't it, Dan? Like, you just can't see any problems the way he's playing and the confidence that he's showing.
I think he's just got to be careful with this positional shot here. He'd love to finish nice and straight on the red to the right centre, but he couldn't. But he used that yellow well as a blocker, and still comfortably on the red to the left.
Yeah, probably just a little soft screw. These can be. No, he's just run into it. It should be okay. I thought he may have just played a little soft screw there, screw the white to the right hand side of the table, but just played the no risk shot, which is fine.
Yeah, it's worked out okay. Oh, a big grimace from the shark. This is a lot thinner than he would have wanted.
Where's that white?
Needs that cue ball to slow down.
It's absolutely perfect.
Cue ball put the brakes on like it was on command. And now, it's black to the top right for a quick fire 2-0 lead. Oh, he's missed it. Oh, Jamie Clark.
I think he just got down a little bit too quick there. I mean, you know, the shot, it wasn't a gimme. It did need a little bit of care and attention, and I think he just took that. He was feeling so confident. I think he just took it for granted. He was just, wherever the white was, he was just going to knock it in. I don't know if Andy Crosdale's watching this match anywhere, but I think he'll have just had a big sigh of relief at that shot.
Total snooker.
Nicely done from Carl. Opens out his 2 yellows in the same shot as putting Jamie Clark in a world of pain. Where's the escape here? Certainly nothing off one cushion.
Extension called.
Can he see enough of the table above the knuckle of the right centre pocket to go 2 cushions that way?
Foul.
Yeah, I don't think he was convinced himself.
One
The
free shot.
shot he was playing was right. It
One
was up
visit.
straight away.
Time running.
He was looking for a lot of side on that one.
Jamie Clark sinks back into his seat as Carl Clark approaches the table with an easy finish on to square the match up when it looked like Jamie was going to put himself so close to the group win tonight.
He just rushed the positional shot on his last yellow. He didn't need to. I know he was in full flow, but he just left the white 6-8 inches away from perfect position and just made it hard work for himself and ultimately missed the pot. So careless.
Carl's finished a bit straight on this last yellow. Just punches it up table as best he can. Still fully expect him to make these.
No mistake there from the Welshman, and this black to keep
Frame.
very slim hopes alive.
Yeah, those hopes are very slim indeed, but they are still there for Carl.
So if Carl wins this and the last match is a draw, we would have all 4 players on 3 points, is that correct?
Maths isn't my strong suit, though.
Go with me, Dan. I think it will be. So then it'll come down to the frame difference, and frames won and frames lost. If it's still level after that, then I think we're going to a game of rock, paper, scissors.
Frame 3. Jamie Clark to break. Scores are tied, 1 frame all. Time running.
Oh, heart in mouth time for Jamie Clark. The cue ball was perilously close to flying into that top left pocket. But it stays out by the skin of its teeth. And he comes to an awkward looking table, but is there a plant on reds here, Kev?
10 seconds.
Because if there is, then all of a sudden the
Extension
reds
call.
could be very open indeed.
Well, there is a shot on, but is there enough room for that red to squeeze? I just wondered if the yellow below the black went into the right centre. I think I would have been. I like the look of the yellows, but reds it is.
Reds it is, and I think the red closest to the left centre has just held up enough that he can see this. So we're in the third frame. It's the third first visit chance for Jamie Clark. And so far, just like the match, it's 1-1.
Yeah, I'd like just another inch on that white ball further up the table, just so I can drop this one into the bottom right corner.
10 seconds.
And leave the one below the yellow into the left-hand corner.
Well, this is a huge shot now.
I think he might
This
be
is a
forced.
very missable pot.
Yeah, he could potentially play the one on the left-hand side and bring the white back over this way. But no, he's played that well.
Excellent stuff so far in this visit from Jamie Clark. One more positional shot and you feel like it should be frame over.
Just wants to get the white up anywhere near the centre pocket. Oh, that's a dream.
It certainly is a dream for Jamie Clark, and it's a nightmare for Carl at the moment. Jamie Clark is looking very, very solid. What can his opponent do to stop him?
Well, at the moment, not too much. But, as we know, it's a funny old game, and we could still see yet more twists and turns. The draw is really no good to Jamie. It might be enough, but he doesn't want to put it down to the calculators. He wants to get the win. So for him, he needs 2 more frames. And for Carl also, he needs to win. A draw's no good for him. He needs the next
Frame
3.
4. Carl Clark to break. Trailing 2 frames to 1.
Andy
Time running.
Croasdale and Paul Harkness in the other room. They can only just sit and watch and hope.
Well, part 1 of their prayers has been answered. Carl's made a ball off the break, but hasn't really got a lot of movement on that. All the balls have clustered in the bottom half of the table. Not a lot has travelled. This is a very, very tricky table to approach.
Yeah, we also need to point out that not only do the 6 group winners
seconds.
qualify for the next phase, but the 2
Extension call.
the 2 best second place finishers in the groups also qualify. So even if Jamie wins this match, there's still a lot of importance on that last match, because they can still qualify.
Yeah, and actually, a group like this that is tight is, I suppose, more likely to bring about a highly ranked second place finish.
Yep, the more points they can get, the better chance. So it's still all to play for, whatever the result of this match. There's a nice plant from Carl, but a little unlucky not to finish on anything.
Yeah, you can't see enough of the red just below the centre pocket on the right hand side. Jamie Clark at the moment smelling of roses, unless Carl Clark can find this back double.
10 seconds.
Looks good. Very good. Similar shot to what the butcher Jake Newell have played last night, except he played it into the under corner pocket, but a very similar shot.
Yeah, terrific double. Both of them made it look quite simple, but actually certainly not simple. Referee doing a great job as always.
Ball.
Ben Taylor for Wednesday.
Time running.
Get a check for the touching ball, but it's not really going to affect Carl here, I don't think. I'm sure he would have considered himself highly unlucky had that red blocked his path.
Again, he's just slightly overdone that one again. A bit of extra adrenaline. But that looks absolutely perfect. And we look like being tied up at 2 frames all. This group tonight could literally go down to the last frame of the last match, the way it's going.
Well, Jamie Clark will be hoping not, but Carl doesn't have a full pocket here for this black. In fact, he's going for it up to the top right. It doesn't go.
10 seconds.
Well, if he... that was a poor positional shot again. He's missed it by a mile. Wow.
Well, just the way he played that, Kev, I just assumed it went into the middle. You could see it looks tight from the monitors, but my word, yeah, that's a long way away from good position.
Wow, Jamie Clark. Can you finish the job off?
Needs a good shot here. Jamie Clark has already had an in-off, and that yellow to the bottom left looks like the cue ball would be going very close to the left centre, and I think that's why he's looking at the yellow going up table, perhaps off the black.
10 seconds.
Could play that as a bit of shot to nothing.
I don't like this shot he's looking at if he's going up the rail. I don't think this is the right shot at all.
Oh, I think he's played that very well, Kev.
Yeah, but I'm not convinced it's the right shot. I mean, Carl could, you know, he's got a cushion there, on the right hand cushion. He could fluke something. I definitely think that yellow, the lowest of those little 2 yellows together, I think that was the shot. He could have just played a soft screw into the other yellow.
10 seconds.
I think he took the ultra safe route. I'm not saying it's the wrong shot, but well, he's going to get the reward.
How'd you miss that? How'd you go around the back of that black?
1 visit. Time running.
So it's all there now for the shark.
Well, that cue ball must have missed that black twice by a cigarette paper. That is unreal. Let's take another look.
Time running.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right around the back. Loads of room.
my word. Yeah, I know what you're saying about that previous negative shot from Jamie, Kev, but his match with Andy Crosdale had that horror in off, and I wonder whether that was just in the back of his mind. Well, I know what will be in the back of his mind for the rest of the evening, and probably when he tries to go to sleep tonight, because it'll be that shot there That's a dreadful miss from Jamie Clark.
Frame.
Leaves the black hanging over the pocket for Carl. What have we just seen there?
I can only think he just got a little bit ahead of himself, knew it was routine, and well, he lost concentration, and I'm not sure what else to say, Dan. I mean, how do you explain it? He could have blown them in. They were that easy.
Yeah, that is... Well, I can only assume it's tension from Jamie nearing the winning line. We've spoken about his record on the IPA over the last few years. It's not been the best. He has struggled for form. And I think when you're in a rut like that, it's difficult to get out of it, and every chance you get feels enormous. And perhaps the pressure has just told on Jamie Clark's shoulders.
Frame 5. Jamie Clark to break.
Well, we'll see how he
Scores a tie,
responds.
2 frames all. Time running.
His last 5 breaks, he's potted a ball from. Make that 6. Flying in from everywhere. Well, he's got yellows. It's a tricky one to start with, but it's another great opportunity.
He is so close to this yellow, but the angle is there. The pocket's available. And that's a very tidy shot, considering he's had to come back to the table immediately after that miss.
So now pressure. This is where the pressure is coming in. So we get to the nitty-gritty stage. Oh, but he's held it together absolutely fantastically there. That was a fantastic shot.
He's got down and stroked that in like he's on the practice table, which, given what we've seen so far tonight, is astonishing to me. And that just shows the talent that Jamie Clark has, but he's almost overscrewed this.
He's doing his best to throw this match away.
Oh.
But in it goes.
Frame.
I can't bear this, Kev.
His 4th break and dish on the trot tonight, Jamie Clark. He's pointed from his last 6. So he is 1 frame away now from winning the group, or 1 frame away from having to sweat through the last match. Which is it going to be? This is great stuff.
Oh, I cannot take it. Jamie will be sat in his seat praying for a dry break from Carl. One all on the dry break front for Carl Clark at the moment.
Final frame. Carl Clark to break. Trailing 3 frames to 2. Time running.
What's he got left? He's lost the white ball.
It's an in-off. All of Jamie Clark's Christmases have come at once.
1 visit. Time running.
Now, it's a bit of a messy table to look at. But Jamie has got a free shot to open everything out. He just needs to pick the right one and pick his pattern.
Extension
call. I think he's just going to... I think if I was Jamie, I'd have the white on the right-hand side of the table, and those 2 yellows that are together, just maybe aim the middle of those, nudge that red down to this other red in this bottom right-hand corner. Yeah, I think he's seeing a similar type shot.
Yeah, I like this too. He's almost guaranteed to be on a red afterwards. He shouldn't push anything safe. It's good enough.
Yeah, I think that is the shot. It is all about composure now. That is all it is about.
Does the red next to the yellow near the right centre, does that pass into the right centre? That's the only sort of possible problem I can see for Jamie.
I think that flies in, Dan. I think that absolutely flies in. His heart will be pumping a little faster than normal. Look at the adrenaline there. You go into that one.
He did, but then I guess you could say he knew he could. The one thing he couldn't do on that shot was underscrew it. If he overscrews it, he's still okay.
Well, this is perfect. This is absolutely perfect. You've noticed now he's slowed down. He's not rushing around the table like he was a couple of frames ago when he missed that easy finish. He's just taking that little bit more time. Still keeping a good pace up. He knows.
He knows.
He's going to be feeling so good inside this black to win the group.
Frame and the
Jamie
match.
Clark
Jamie Clark wins
sees
4
his
frames
way
to 2.
through Group 2 of the Sporty Stuff TV Champions Cup. It's been a phenomenal performance from him all night, especially on his break. He has been magnificent. And let's see what our experts in the studio have to say about that one.
We found the winner. We found the...
Wow, 8-1 shot, Jamie Clark, the Shark. He's been phenomenal tonight. The way that he's broke and the way that he's played, the way that he's cleared up, he's been superb. And a credit to him. He's held his nerve there in that last frame. You could see the tension, the adrenaline. It was running through him, but he's held it together and well played to him. It is pressure. In that studio arena, that's all that happens in there is pressure. It really does.
Unbelievable. And there's only four runners outside of the 4, wasn't he? 8-1.
Yeah.
Everyone said I fancied Crosdale to win it 5-4. You fancied the other Clark, Cole Clark, to win it 11-4. We both got it wrong. So we're not experts tonight, are we, Marco?
No, not at all. And if that match had finished 3-3, I'm just saying the big if that had finished 3-3, I had all the mathematicians all working it all out in there.
Oh well, I'll beat you.
Going.
I'll beat you because in the back of my car I got a lovely crystal ball.
Oh, have you?
And I was going to put that on the table because we never know who was going to win.
Yeah. But we have still got one match to play. Unfortunately, it's not going to mean too much. But there is still that runner-up place to be playing for.
Yeah, and also they can go through. Is it the two highest? You know, Paul Harkness. You know, whoever wins it, Andy Crosdale, they could go through as the second highest. You never know, do you?
Absolutely, and it's going to be a good match, to be honest.
8-1.
And there's still a little bit of betting on. This is the
8-1 winner. I can't believe it. Should we go for a break and have 3 minutes and have another go? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Beautiful. See you later, boys and girls.
Thank you, gents. When you're ready, please lag for break.
Welcome back to our final match tonight in the Sporty Stuff TV Champions Cup. It's Paul Harkness versus Andy Crosdale, Scotland v England.
Andy Crosdale wins the lag.
And they are playing for the potential of, well, what, a lucky loser spot, Kev?
I wouldn't call it a lucky loser, Dan, because, you know, if you come second in the group and you've played well, then, you know, it's not lucky. You've still, you know, used your skill to get there. So, you know, there's 8 places in the next phase with 6 groups. So 2 of the second place finishers will go through. So you've a 1 in 3 chance nearly. So, you know, I think whoever wins through tonight will have more points than last night's group. So, you know, puts them in a good position.
Yep, whoever wins this match, essentially, will go into pole position for one of those 2 runners-up spots to go through to the next stage of this competition.
Final match of Group B in the Champions Cup. Best of 6 frames. First frame, Andy Crosdale to break. Time running.
Andy Crosdale. Andy Croasdale is just working his way through this finish. Of course, Kev, it will be important to get as many frames on the board as possible as these two are fighting it out for that last spot.
Yeah, it's every frame is vital. It's still all to play for. You know, if you come second and you get through, it's as good as winning the group and getting through. It is just about getting through, and certainly Crowe, if he can keep the form going and get a victory here, then he will be in a good position. Where's this black going? Is it clipping?
This is a very thin snick. Oh, he's made it. Where's the cue ball? It's safe.
Frame.
It's the perfect start for Andy Croasdale. And not an ideal start at all for Paul Harkness. I guess kept a 4-0 or a 4-1 in this match really put the cat amongst the pigeons in terms of that second place spot.
I think any victory for Andy is going to put him in prime position to make it through to the next phase. So you know, it's definitely all to play for. And he's definitely, you know, he might be initially disappointed that he's not going to win the group, and he was favourite. But I'm sure, you know, he's had time to reflect and think that, you know, if I can win this 4-1, 4-2, well, any victory,
break.
and you know, he's still got an excellent chance of making it through to the next phase.
Well, and Paul Harkness is in the same boat. They're both on the same number of points coming into this match, I believe. So actually, you know, whichever one of these two wins is in a very strong position, potentially going forward. Paul's break hasn't come out quite as neatly as Andy's.
Yeah, they're both on 2 points, and I reckon 4 points would get you through to the next phase.
Extension called.
Jake Newell did get 4 points last night, and he had a frame difference of 3. So Andy Croasdale has currently got a frame difference of 0. So if he can win 4-1 or 4-0, he's certainly going to be in with a shout.
What about Paul? What's Paul's frame difference like?
Is his level as well. So you know, he
so
really
a 4-1 for him.
He really needs to win the next 4.
10 seconds.
Yeah. So a 4-1 either way, and these two are putting themselves in pole position. Andy Croasdale with still the potential of a 4-0 as well, and that really would put him at the top of the second place leaderboard, if you like.
Yep.
Early on in this second frame, he does have a half chance, but this is not easy. Long range plant, tried to go cushion first, it hasn't worked. It's a really awkward table for Paul though.
Yeah, not much to go out there. But these players are so good, they can carve opportunities out of seemingly nothing.
Yeah, it was a terrific opener from Paul Harkness, but he needs to find some way of sorting out this area at the top right. What a shot that is! Oh, well, 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 Paul Harkness. That is quality.
That's what I'm saying. You can't rest on your laurels with these guys, because these are the best players in the world, and they can do some crazy things at time. Look, he's fired in a double. Don't think the skill shot's on from that angle, but he's still going. He's still got a chance. He can come to the bottom end of the table now.
left himself a decent angle. He's going to try and pot this red. Stun the cue ball up into the top half of the table, dislodge the yellow, move the red. He'll be happy with either as long as he's on it. We couldn't get there. How's this going to come out? Is that yellow going to drop? Does that red pass the black?
I think it does. Oh, he's sitting too thin.
Oh, no. Well, that would have been clearance of the century, wouldn't it? So close.
Played that well. Table running so true and straight. Oh, my goodness me. Andy Croasdale.
That almost looked like such a half-hearted effort. I mean, it was almost sort of a resigned shot, wasn't it?
It's a black.
That's a big stroke of luck for Paul Harkness. And he can nudge this yellow out there and leave him with not a lot to go at. That's a clever shot.
Foul.
Well, it was, I think he was looking to hit that a lot thinner. Trying to, I think, probably go for the right centre. I'm not quite certain, but you know, it's a great chance for Andy now just to finish this frame off. Put himself 2-0 up, and still with that great chance of getting through to the next phase.
Yeah, Andy Croasdale keeping the dream alive. He has effectively not quite ended Paul Harkness's chances of going through in second place as one of the two best runners up, but he certainly dented that ambition here, because that would put him second out of two after 2 nights. So Andy really needs these next 2 frames to give himself the best possible opportunity.
Yeah, I think that was final nail for Paul Harkness. He will need some mighty good results over the next 4 days to make it through, even if he could turn this match around and win it 4-2.
Andy Croasdale to break, leading 2 frames to 0.
A very long shot to make it through. It's all in Andy Croasdale's hands.
Even more so with that break. Just the one area on the table that will be a cause for concern for Andy Croasdale here. That red and yellow on the left-hand side.
Screwing into it now.
It's not a bad result, Kev.
It's not bad at all.
Andy really is fast and furious when he gets into his groove. He doesn't hang around.
Looks perfect. Just run this through. In it goes.
That is 2 break and finishes on the trot for Andy Croasdale. He leads Paul Harkness by 3 frames to 0. Paul is now definitely out of the competition. Andy is scrapping away for his life.
Yeah, he'll want to finish the job in this next frame. Doesn't want to give Paul a chance. Take a frame and spoil that frame difference.
Will this be the final break of the night?
Frame
Paul
4.
Harkness. We'll hope not.
Paul Harkness to break, trailing 3 frames to 0. Time running.
Andy could let Paul win 1 frame and still be the player in the best second place position, because he would have won more frames than Jake Newlove. So if he can win 1 of the next 2, he will be, as I said, the best placed second place finisher after the opening 2 nights.
4-0 would just give him a little bit more of a gap to what's potentially still to come, though, Kev.
Absolutely, yeah. He'll want to finish the job now.
Just will he get the chance to? That's the question. Can Paul Harkness keep it together here and finish the job in frame 4? Going about his business quite nicely. That is a very confident shot.
Yeah, I mean, he started off the evening, did Paul, into. He looked really confident. He was striking the ball well, playing with lots of authority on this, you know, super fast table, and it sort of just got away from him a bit, really. Maybe it's just the consistency that you know, has just caused him the issues. But you know, certainly early on in the match, in the day's matches, he looked as good as anyone.
He did, but how's he going to get on this black? This is an awful angle on the yellow. Well, he's had a bit of a swipe at it.
1 free shot.
Trusted to luck.
1 visit.
And luck
Time
has
running.
not been his friend.
Time out.
In goes one of Andy's reds. And that will bring Andy Crosdale to
Time
the
running.
table. 1 free shot, 1 visit to complete a 4-0 victory. And I would say, Kev, that this massively increases Andy's chances of going through.
Oh, that's
He's
nice.
certainly going to be the man to beat.
Yep, it puts him, you know, he's done the best he can. 4-0 in his last match. Oh, he's got a kick on that one. That looked like a kick. Why it's not run through at all.
He did.
Just
He's
made-
straight up to the top left, though.
No centre. No mistake. And Andy
Frame
Crosdale,
and the match. Andy Crosdale wins 4 frames to 0.
the referee Bent Fawenti says, wins the frame 4-0, takes second place in the group. Will that be enough to secure his spot in the second phase? Well, he'll have to wait and find out.
God, that was easy, wasn't it? 4-0. I wasn't expecting that. Was you expecting that, Mark?
No, not at all. And just think if that match would have finished 3-0 previously in match 5, Andy Crosdale would be through now. But 4-0.
But Andy can still go through.
He can go through in
he's
one of the runner-up spots, yeah.
Yeah, he's got.
absolutely.
So far, I know we've only had 2 days. We've got plenty of more days to go. But at the moment, he's leading that second highest, isn't he? In his second spot, he's got the most points at the moment. But that winner tonight was unbelievable, wasn't it? 8-1. Jamie winning it. It was just out this world, wasn't it? And the good news of it, the good news is it is, or say good news or bad news, what way you want to take it. But I've just spoke to one of our traders, one of our betting partners tonight, and they've seen plenty of money tonight on the pool. Plenty of bets have been going on, and well, it ain't good news for us because the bookies have had a good night, but they're entitled to have a good night. Yesterday they had a bad night when the favourite won. Tonight, the big outsiders won, the 8-1. Jamie's won, isn't he? Jamie Clark.
Yeah.
But the book, you know, the traders are saying they've took plenty of money tonight on Paul, which is what we want. This is what it's all about. If the bookies take money, we'll be back and we'll carry on. There'll be major competitions, be more competitions, won't it? So, you know, it's good for the bookies tonight, but bad for the punters because, like, they've had a bad night. But tomorrow night,
It's
well,
evened itself out, though, isn't it?
evened
really?
itself out. Yeah, it's like, you know. Do you remember in the park in the old day we had the seesaw? But unfortunately, I always was at the bottom of the seesaw. I never went to the top. I don't know why. But anyway, tomorrow night, let's talk about tomorrow, Mark. We've got an absolute classic tomorrow night, haven't we? And here's the players tomorrow night. Clint Jansen, going to be odds on tomorrow. Got to be odds on. Corey Reese, he's got to be the second favourite from Wales, hasn't he? I would have thought. Then we've got Alex O'Donoghue from Swindon.
Yeah.
He's got a big chance as well. And the boy I feel sorry for is Chrissy Kingham from Brighton. Well, I got a funny feeling. You know, I speak to one of the wizards of odds in this game, the pool game, and they make him tomorrow, Chrissy Kingham, round about the 14-1 chance to win it. Now, you had a big price winner tonight, 8-1. Chrissy Kingham tomorrow, 14-1. Can he win?
Well, we've seen it tonight.
Can he win, Mark? Can he win? Would you back him?
I'm going to put it straight out there. No, I'm going to say no. I mean, when you've got Clint Jansen, he's the fans' favourite, the number 5 ranked IPA player. I can't see past Clint Jansen. But Clint's going to have a tough game against Corey Reese, Alex O'Donoghue, and who knows what Chris Kingham can do? Who knows?
Yeah, but Chrissy Kingham, what number is he in the amateur rankings? Did you say?
39th.
39 in the amateur rankings. 39th in the 14-1. I don't know about 14-1. I think them bookie boys out there tomorrow, you should put another naught on the end there of 14. It should be 140, I think, for Chrissy Kingham. But I've got the odds that I think they could be tomorrow. It's only my opinion. It's, you know, with my bit of help from the Wizard of Odds who's told me. And I think Clint Jansen's going to be about a 4-5 chance tomorrow. So that means he's odds on. We had an odds on winner yesterday, didn't we? Who absolutely went through 4-0, 4-0, 4-0. Then we got Corey Reese from Wales. He's going to be about a 9-4 chance. Now, in tic-tac terms, 9-4 is top of the head. That's what they say. If you was at the race course and you said, what price is Corey Reese? We don't say 9-4. We just go top of the head. That means 9-4. Okay. And then we've got Alex O'Donoghue, who's going to be a 7-2 chance. I think it's going to be a classic tomorrow. 4 runners coming tomorrow, but according to the betting, there's only 3 of them that can win. But look what's happened tonight. No one would have thought Jamie would have won tonight, would he?
No.
And look what's happened. He was 8-1 tonight. I wonder if we could have a shock tomorrow for Chrissy Kingham from Brighton winning at 14-1. But it's going to be great matches tomorrow, isn't it, Mark?
Yeah, it certainly is. I mean, you know, just for some of them odds that you just told me there, I mean, if you was giving them prices right now, I think Alex O'Donoghue at 7-2 is really on. And if Alex O'Donoghue is more than capable of winning all 3 of these matches tomorrow.
You know, yesterday, we had a bet yesterday that come up, but, you know, I put it up as my belly buster yesterday, 5-1. The Scotch boy yesterday winning every match. Tomorrow, Clint Jansen, right, he's odds on now, he's 4-5. I wonder if any of our betting partners want to go big tomorrow and want to be the big bookie tomorrow, any of them, if they can do a boost for us tomorrow. And I wonder if any bookies would go out there and give us 5-1. What we had yesterday,
yeah,
we had 5-1 yesterday to winner, didn't we?
Yeah.
I wonder if anyone will go 5-1, Clint Jansen to win not 1, not 2, but all 3 matches tomorrow. They did it yesterday, the bookies. So don't forget tomorrow, when you get up, be very early in the morning, have a look. You might see a bit of value. And if you see 5-1, Clint, you're not going to say Clint Jansen because you think Corey Reese could beat.
Yeah, it's definitely upset. I mean, Corey's been really in form recently, definitely through the IPA ranks. And there's no doubt in my eye that he'll be in the top 10 for next season.
What is the ratings, the rankings at the moment?
I mean, Corey Reese is sort of ranked at like 15th now, and then Alex, he was a professional, and then he went back to amateur ranks, and now he's come back to be a professional. So he's only still in his first year, so he's in like the 30s. But Clint Jansen, ranked number 5, he's won a title last season. Well, should I say this season? I'll say last year. So he's already won a title, and it's going to be a tough one to call.
I had a text tonight as well when we come on here, well, during the night and that, and someone said, how much is it for a player to join the IPA to be like a professional, and how much would it be to be an amateur for the year? Is it big numbers they have to pay, Mark?
Well, whether like a professional is £980.
How much, Mark? Sorry?
£980 to be a professional.
For the year?
Yeah, for the
year. And
year.
that takes a professional into competitions. How many competitions?
Well, you can't just join as a professional. You've got to start off as an amateur ranks.
Oh, right,
so
lovely.
basically, you've got to be in it for 2 years.
Right.
So you'll have to pay if you want to join an amateur, and there is still spaces for the 2022 tour if anybody wants to take it up. So and it's £500.
£500. So to be a professional, you've got to serve 2 years as an amateur, and then you can move up the ladder to be a professional.
Yeah, yeah.
That's very, very interesting, because someone tweeted me tonight as well. Do you know how much it is to join? Because having it on the TV here on Sporty Stuff TV as well, I should imagine there's a lot of pool players out there who want to have a go, and they can, if they qualify, they can come to a big competition like we've got here, the Champions Cup, playing for 10 grand. So really and truthfully, you don't get your £900 back for the year. You get a bit of profit on top as well. Well, massive profit, isn't it? 10 grand for the winner.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's fantastic. So yeah, that's really, really interesting, isn't it? And if and is there any people back any viewers who are watching, and if they want to join, what do they have to do? Go on the internet to the IPA?
Go online at ipapool.com. Have a look, and well, I think I've got the price wrong. I reckon it's about £550 now.
Oh, it's gone up.
Yeah, we're at it. It's inflation.
It's gone up. Inflation. Yeah, we want a bit of inflation. Yeah.
We're playing
if
for this
anyone
nice
out
shirt for
there,
you,
if they want to email you, Mark, and you'll put them, you'll put them right.
Absolutely.
Where they got to go.
Absolutely.
Oh,
ipapool.com, and it'll all be on there.
We've had a great night tonight, haven't we?
I certainly have. And,
great night tomorrow coming up.
We've got plenty more great nights together, haven't we?
How many more nights have we got? We've got loads of nights.
We've got 26.
I'll be seeing you more.
I say that really sad, but I will be really sad when it comes down to our very last show.
I think I'll be seeing you more than I've seen the wife. I ain't seen her for 4 years.
Absolutely not.
No, great night tonight, everyone. I hope you've all enjoyed it, and we've had a fantastic night, haven't we? And let's hope, as you said, we've got plenty more nights these to come. Any more words that you can say to our viewers, Mark?
Well, I mean, obviously, there's some really good players coming up next week, and if everybody's enjoyed the action this week, next week's going to be sensational.
Next week?
We've got the world champion here next week.
Who's that?
John McAllister.
Good?
Yeah, very good.
Very good?
Yeah, he beat me last year in my group final.
You're only saying that because you got beat anyway.
Yeah, well, probably a little bit sour grapes.
He's only saying that because he got beat last year. But all the viewers back home, as I said last night, me and Mark, we couldn't do this without the production team here. And the referee as well, been fantastic. Ben, he hasn't made a mistake.
Mr. Ben, you called him.
Mr. Ben, I called him, only because I can't remember his third name, that was all.
Fantastic.
But we've had a great night tonight. I hope you've enjoyed it back home. Sorry if you've done your money tonight, if you've had a little bet, but the bookies have won. And as I said, it's not us, it's everyone here, a part of the Sporty Stuff TV crew. And have a good night, and God bless you, and I'll see you tomorrow for day 3.
Good night.